So we're going to have a look at the 3 rigs that I've used on this trip, their different USPs, so to speak, and why I've chosen each one for each situation. So the first one is, I suppose it's well, I called this the Go Anywhere stiff rig, which I popularised in probably 1999 in the magazines, because the stiff hinge was very, very good, but we wanted a version that had more forgiveness, that you could just cast anywhere. You know, if you saw a fish show, you wanted to be able to cast a fish to it. Now, with the original stiff hinge, it had a rigid boom section, and that meant you needed to present it over a flat bottom. There was no two ways about it. So through fishing with Terry and using the stiff hinge, I quickly realised that there was a need for a version that utilised the deadly gaff section, but had a forgiving boom. So I started using it with 25-pound snake bite, put it in Advanced Carp magazine, and what probably then was Catch More Carp magazine a long time ago, and it's probably standard now for most anglers to use much more than the original stiff hinge. So I've got a short 25-pound coated braid section, which I've got a loop, and on that loop the size 11 ring swivel runs. And with these sort of rigs, it's all about imparting as much movement into the hook section and the rest of the rig as you can. Now, you'll see that when I show you the next rig, it's even more apparent. I just tried to bring the D up a little bit higher on the hook here. I was really just experimenting. You know, I've spent years and years, most of my life, just fishing on the eye with a little D. But I quite like the idea of presenting the bait a little bit higher up, just to be a little bit different. All I can say is the hook holds on this trip have been phenomenal. Almost all the fish who come on this rig, actually this is a rig. The sharp-eyed amongst you will notice the hook point is turned over. This is a dead rig. Now, it's all about movement, and to that end I've got the hook ring swivel. Very, very important component, because what it means is that it allows, if you hold the bait tight, obviously there isn't a bait on that, but I'm just holding the floss, it allows the hook to go 360 independent of the bait, and vice versa. That's very, very important to give you that bit of movement. So that's what I've used for most of this session. Now you'll notice there's a slight curve in that, and just going to go into that a little bit more. Now this is the chod rig that I used when I moved down the other end of the lake. I used this for 2 nights fishing, and I've always used a good amount of curve in the chod section. Now a lot of people think that's so that it's sort of gaff shaped, so it goes right in the back of the mouth. Yes, it does do that, but the curve is there for a much more important reason than that, and it comes back to movement. When a carp approaches your rig, I think we all have this visualization that a carp is always going to approach your rig like that, bottom lip goes there and you got him. But of course a carp can approach your rig from any direction at all. By having the curve and the mini hook ring swivel, if the fish approaches from behind, as soon as its bottom lip touches the back of the curve, you can see as soon as it touches it, it spins it round, which means that whichever direction the carp comes from, you're going to get the most efficient hook hold. And I've proved this to myself endless times. You always get a center of the bottom lip hook in, and I've done it in busy situations, waters like linear, where I'm getting tens and tens of bites, and every fish is hooked the same. And when you're getting that amount of bites, there's no way that the fish are all approaching the rig perfectly. To me, that proves that that curve section is doing exactly what it's supposed to be. And you saw it on my mini version, the one we've caught the fish. Again, it's still got that curve. Again, if you just touch the back of that, it spins round instantaneously. The other thing with the chod rig that I've been using, I do actually use them a lot more curved a lot of the time, but this is the version that I used on this trip. I've got a double ring swivel, again, just to give as much movement as I can. Normally, historically, I've always tied a little loop there to the ring swivel, but I saw these little swivels and I thought, well, if I tie directly to that, it's the same as having a little loop. That runs onto the leg core leader. I'll show you how to set that up properly, just briefly. So this is a leg core chod rig. I've got the new Fox Heli Safe Heli clip, I think it's called, on there. Very, very impressed with that. Seems to work really well. It's nice and easy to assemble, less moving parts. And when I set it up on lead core, I like to have a bottom bead here, which is just a rubber bead that I pierced through the side so that it grips the leader. And that just means that you can position your rig so that that hand sharpened hook point is well away from the metal of the lead. And that can run up obviously to your top bead to the desired distance that you want to have it set. Usually I have it set about 5 foot up because I do like a flying chod, so it will settle over absolutely anything. Absolutely phenomenal hooker of fish, even when it's free running like that. It really seems to cause them a lot of issues because no other lead arrangement behaves in that manner. It's sliding, but it gives resistance at the same time. And again, nothing else does that apart from a free running helicopter rig. Lastly, this is the rig that I'm using in the edge, which is a little multi-rig, Mike Kavanagh's multi-rig, or some people call it a slip D. It's just soft braid and a lump of putty. I've got quite a big hook on there, a size 4, soft braided hook link. Now what I'm looking for with this is I want because this is going to be picked up off the bottom, I want the bait to be mounted as near to the eye as possible. I don't want it all the way around the bend, and the reason for that, as you'll see, if I pick it up by the bait every single time, the hook point drops down. And again, it's about making that hook point really available to the bottom lip of the fish in the same way as we've used the hook ring swivels and putting the curve into the chod section. It's about getting that hook to grip as early in the process as you possibly can. So there are 3 different rigs that we've used, and not caught any on the chod rig on this session, but over the years the chod rig has probably been my most successful tactic of all, fishing it flying up the leader. I just don't use it much these days because of the pressure that fish get on baits popped up off the bottom, but certainly on a lake like where we are here at Willows, the fish haven't seen loads of pressure. Jake's caught his fish exactly on that presentation, a chod rig popped up off the bottom. Whether it would be effective in the UK at this time of year, if there was one time of year it would be, it's now in the spring when the fish are coming out, they're starting to investigate the lake, they're travelling and they're picking up baits. Probably the ultimate single hook bait presentation, but also perfectly suited to my favourite all-time style of fishing, which is feeding boilies with the throwing stick. So there are 3 presentations I've been using, and the reasons for them. The soft braid in the edge is perfect for stalking. The multi-hinge, or the go anywhere stiff rig as I originally called it, is just perfect for putting a pop-up out over the spread of boilies. Now the reason I haven't used the Bermuda, I did it on the first night, I think I did put out 2 Bermudas, but these fish, again, we're coming out into spring, we come out of the cold phase, the fish are active, and if there's one time that you can use a pop-up rig and the fish on it haven't had loads and loads of pressure, it's now. So I thought, you know what, I haven't used a pop-up for ages. I like that size 4 continental boilie hook, super strong, light lead, out to the clip, done. If I don't do the cast right and I want to redo it, I haven't got to redo the stringer and everything else that goes with it. So there you go.